Welcome in the latest episode of the Need for Seeds College Basketball Podcast, hosted by the Bet and Pitch Podcast Network. I'm your host, the real _ G Warner. I'm joined by my co-host at Big East Ben. I actually touched him. Ooh, burning hot. 9-0's entire NCAA tournament. Very nice. Sizzle, whatever we're doing. Sound effects. But yeah, Big East Ben, 9-0 in the entire every best bet you've won this entire March Madness NCAA tournament. I know there's a lot of pressure. Are you feeling it? Because 10-0 is a big step.
It is a big step. Thank you for everyone joining tonight. We are live from the Green Tree in West Phoenix. Only $100 a night. Can't beat it. And they've accommodated us with this set that makes it kind of look like we're shooting maybe like a hostage tape, maybe like a, a ransom type video. But yeah, a lot of pressure going possibly 10-0 in this tournament. And I don't know how I got to 9-0 because this tournament's been nuts, and we're excited to see how it concludes over these next 72 hours.
As part of the accommodations is a very loud bathroom light that also turns on a fan at the Green Tree Hotel. Shout out a little bit different of accommodations as Salsa Limon in downtown Dallas last week, but we're back in the flesh together, and this is not a snuff film, so we'll keep going. Thank you all for our subscribers. If you're following us on, they're gonna kick us out of the Green Tree for being too loud. I don't think so. I think we're allowed to talk as loud as we want, and it's only 7:55 on a Friday night. Come on.
All right.
So thank you all for tuning in, of course, and for the many millions of subscribers on YouTube at the real _ G Warner. Plus, if you're following the Betting the Pitch Podcast Network on Instagram or on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you are, thank you. And if you're not a member of BetOnline or Sportsbetting.ag, there are links in the promo codes on those various websites to get free money at these casinos. And that's where we're quoting our lines from. We're going to give best bets end of show for both the Final Four games. We're going side and totals to keep this as interesting as possible for everyone and try to give as many winners as possible before the season ends to try to ride the wave of at Big East Ben and his incredible run so far. But before we get into that, at Big East Ben got here a little bit before I did. I just got off a plane, and his flight landed earlier today, and he had some activities. What did you do today, Ben?
So I got in about 4:15 Phoenix time, which is Pacific time. They actually don't have daylight savings down here. So it's kind of tough to tell what time it is, but it's 4:10. So got in an hour earlier, flying out of the Mountain West. And I went down to Huss Brewing Company, which is near Chase Bank Ballpark where the Diamondbacks play.
Downtown Phoenix, yeah.
It would have been nice for them to have maybe a weekend series or the whatever.
Not enough hotel rooms at the Green Tree Hotel Inn and Suites to have both the Final Four and the D-backs in town, So they're in Atlanta, I think, playing the Braves, probably losing to the Braves. Keep going.
Yeah, so just so happens the Field of 68 podcast network was doing their filming there. So I didn't know that, but Goodman, Doster, Henson, Bruce Pearl was there.
Randolph Childress,
three-man weave guys. So I was just biding my time, drinking my beer, and they were on a commercial break. And Doster yells for Childress to come back. I think maybe he was in the bathroom or something. And then he asked for Jim Root of the Three Man Weave podcast. I don't know where he was. So I just walked up and kindly offered my services to fill some airtime. Kind of gave a little bit of my background, showed my appreciation. Looking back on it, I kind of brown nosed a little bit, but again, I was kind of thrown into the situation. Showed my appreciation for the Field of 68, gave my opinions on UConn, and gave a shout out to the Need for Seats Podcast Network.
That's us.
Which I, off camera pitched a bit. Maybe got some contacts. So yeah, thanks for sticking with us this year. We are going to invest next year and become a much more well-rounded product, whether it is through, connections or not. We got to invest the time, and we appreciate you sticking with us.
No doubts, we've invested a lot of time coming to you weekly the entire season, plus even 2 times a week during March, which has been a very, very hot time period for at Big East Ben. We were having a really good run. I'm probably holding us up from reaching new heights. But we're gonna go through the entire card, starting with the earlier matchup, which I guess is a 3:09 start. So that's gonna be pretty early. So we might have some time to hit the bars after the Final Four tomorrow, to say the least. But we got a 3:09 Pacific time start, NC State and Purdue. Looks like we opened at Purdue -9, total 147. That total has fallen a little bit to 146.5. The spread is still 9, though it's a little bit more juice on the Purdue side. We're saving best bets for end of show, so you all stick around because we're going to see Ben improve from 9-0 to 10-0. What do you think about this game?
So NC State, first round matchup against Texas Tech, blow them out of the water. I didn't really watch that game. Did you watch that game much?
I did. Texas Tech didn't shoot their incredible percentage from 3, and they couldn't stop DJ Burns, which has been a theme.
Yes. All right. So Oakland game, Oakland plays them tough. Goalkeeper goes off. They go to overtime. NC State escapes.
And almost covers the spread, which would have been very, very difficult for Oakland backers, but didn't matter.
No, we were on, that was NC State 6.5.
Yes, they won by 6.
Right.
So Oakland almost fouled at the end to put NC State at the line for 2, but they let the clock run out, or the refs just didn't call it.
NC State Marquette, Dallas. We were there. I was there. Shout out Game Time. I got my money back from you crooks.
Did Game Time give you the money back? I guess that's another untold.
No, they didn't. Bank of America canceled the charge, so you didn't get a dime. So time's up. Time's up.
Game Time. Game Time. What's up?
Marquette shoots 431 from 3.
4 of 31.
Yeah. 4 of 31 from 3. I brought that up at the field 68.
You did. Keep going.
Somebody said the balls were overinflated, affecting teams that.
It's a big problem I have, 13% from 3, not great in the the Sweet 16.
Anyway, and then they beat Duke, and that was a weird game. I mean, Phil Bowski could get nothing going.
He was good at fouling.
It was all McCain. Proctor was terrible. And it's weird. NC State just lulls you into this. I don't know. They force you to play outside your normal game. They just kind of force the lowest variance. Problem is, I really think all that hinges on the play of DJ Burns. DJ Burns has to be effective, and DJ Burns is not going to be effective.
Oh, why do you say that?
You
think a 7'4" guy can use his size and weight against a 6'8", 6'9" listed, probably 6'8" in real life guy who's very girthy?
Edie is too wide. Edie is too tall. Edie is too strong. He's not going to have to lean on Burns. He's not going to give Burns that spin move. And if Burns does get it off, it is going to be a highly disruptive shot. Again, guys, we talked about this last episode. Purdue has a proven scientific formula to beat teams not named UConn. And it is Zach Edey racking up fouls, getting to the line. Burns will not be able to guard him. They're going to put DR on him. That guy is going to be, again, he's still doing the Ramadan thing. NCAA gave them no favors by giving them
the early game. Yeah, pretty brutal. He did have a couple rebounds though against Marquette when he was also fasting for Ramadan though. Let's remember.
And then Middlebrooks, who I think has played great, but it's Will Middlebrooks.
Ben, I think.
Ben Middlebrooks.
I think Will Middlebrooks.
Third baseman, Red Sox.
I think he.
Will Middlebrooks almost rookie of the year.
He was a really good rookie, and then he started banging the sideline reporter, and she had to leave the Red Sox, known as Jenny Dell.
Jenny Dell.
Hey,
Jenny Dell, if you're a listener, we took a picture
together. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm sure it was a very nice sex, not banging, but still, that's kind of the story of why she left the Red Sox beat, but she's done pretty well for herself. Unfortunately, neither at Big East Ben nor the Real _G Warner got Jenny Dell's looks, so I guess we'll be still looking for other introductions. You think you're hotter than Jenny Dell? Okay.
I don't know why you're making that connection.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me neither. It just seems to matter in this industry.
I'm a big Jenny Dell fan. UMass Amherst, where it was.
Oh, I didn't know she went to the zoo.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So I guess you're saying that Ben Middlebrooks or Will Middlebrooks, whichever Middlebrooks.
Did you know Danny Cannell's his uncle?
I did, because
Was he the
literally
one wearing the Ben Middlebrooks
uncle shirt?
Because I saw that, I did not recognize it because he wasn't wearing a turtleneck.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know Danny Cannell, other than being an idiot. I didn't know that he only wore turtlenecks.
Yeah, it's a big turtleneck guy. Anyway, again, NC State has a formula to win, where they kind of had an undocumented formula to win. They disrupt the team. It hinges on Burns. Burns cannot be the hinge against Edie. I like Purdue. I think live line is 8.5.
Nope, we're still 9.
9. I like Purdue -9.
So the nice part about 9 is a lot of times teams stop fouling there if you're looking for underdogs. But in the NCAA tournament, when it doesn't matter, you're not trying to get a close win according to the net. It doesn't really matter. You keep fouling forever and ever and ever, potentially, until you think it's time to give up. I think really if you're backing Purdue here, you're expecting a blowout. You're not expecting to get across that number late. Though certainly it can happen with fouls end of game, and you never know. The Dayton Arizona ending was horrible for me because Dayton did exactly what I wanted them to, take a bunch of layups to try to stay within that number, but then foul at the end and ended up losing by 10 with a +9. So that does worry me a little bit. I think NC State has some ability here to keep this close. My concerns really is that if Burns gets in foul trouble, which seems, I think, more likely than unlikely. I think DR has emerged as a decent but very thin and lanky type of player to potentially try to guard Edie. Plus, I think we might even see Middlebrooks and DJ Burns on the court a lot, trying to kind of alternate who's defending Edie to try to conserve fouls as much as possible. Middlebrooks is great, but he's really good as a backup center, scoring off the bench against a center that isn't Zach Edey. I think that's my biggest concern here. But I do think that you're not worried about DJ Burns and his passing ability when Zach Edey defends him, because I don't know that Zach Edey really has ever had to defend anyone as sophisticated and talented as a passer as DJ Burns.
I think that is, he only had 2 assists last game.
Well, against
he's no Oso Iguodala, I'm sorry, in passing.
Against Marquette, he scored 4 points the first half. I think he had 8 assists, and that was a huge part of them getting out to a big lead. And you could say that the big lead potentially made it a lot harder for Marquette to make those threes with inflated basketballs or not.
Purdue has a pretty good perimeter defense. Those guys can move. Smith, Lawyer, Jones. Those guys can move perimeter. They like DJ Burns' passing ability depends on when the need to double him. Marquette has to double him. Okay. Oakland had to double him. That's when those passing opportunities emerge. With Edey in the post on him, Purdue will have no need to double him. Those opportunities will not be there.
I think DJ Burns scores against Zach Edey. I think he has a lot more success offensively than expected. I think NC State plays a grinded out game. I'll play NC State +9. As for the total here, since we're just picking sides and totals, 146.5. How do you feel about that?
I'm going under. This is going to be a battle of the 2-point field goals, and one team is going to make a lot more than the other one.
Well, NC State certainly doesn't like to shoot threes, so that's a big concern for them, because that's probably the best way for them to win this game is make a lot of threes, which I don't think we would expect. I think we both have Purdue moving through. I'll go under as well, under 146.5, as I think that really the best chance for NC State to get through this game is to keep it as close as possible, as long as possible, and I don't think that's in a shootout. I think the real hinge for speaking of hinges, the real hinge for the total, I think, is if Purdue makes a bunch of threes and blows this one out, which would be really good for your spread bet, of course, and then also would be good for over. But I just don't know that NC State can hang in that game. So I think there's a good chance it goes under either way, even if Purdue is good or if this is close. So moving on to the nightcap, we have Alabama and Connecticut. I actually saw more Alabama fans on my flight. I think there was a lot of Tuscaloosa to Dallas and then Dallas to to Phoenix. I don't think there's a lot of Tuscaloosa to Phoenix directs, but we did get the super long plane that the bathrooms didn't work for the first 15 minutes or last 15 minutes of the flight based on like the height and altitude, which is bizarre and made me think that we were going to crash. But we made it. I'm here clearly at the lovely establishment called Green Tree, not the Green Tea, because those are the shots we're doing later. But Alabama, a 10.5-point underdog at open to Connecticut with a total 161.5. That's down to 161. So we've seen both totals fall a half of a point, but UConn's up to an 11.5-point favor right now at BetOnline Sportsbetting.ag. If you're not over there yet, go make a deposit. First time depositors and first two depositors Sportsbetting.ag, you get free money from the casino, 50% match at BetOnline, but 100% up to $500. So go throw $500 in sportsbetting.ag and you'll get 500 more match your first two times. So even if you go broke that first time, not really broke, but lose your first deposit plus that 500, you get to do it again. So you can get basically $1,000 free with two $500 deposits. So $1,000 for $1,000 if you do it twice at sportsbetting.ag. Links in the podcast description. So Connecticut, 11.5-point favorite. Looks like it might, we see some 12s across at Bookmaker and Heritage, though I don't really consider Heritage that legitimate, but Bookmaker is. UConn, an 11.5-point favorite, total 161.
Nate Oates has already admitted defeat.
Whoa.
Nate Oates said in a press conference, we can't outscore UConn.
That would mean, so if he cannot score more than UConn, that does mean they lose.
Right.
So instead, he's going to try to underscore, inside score UConn.
We can't I'm pretty sure that was a quote. I know it sounds ridiculous now that you're breaking it down to its simplest means, but essentially
that's what I do.
We can't run with UConn. Alabama's offense is all based on running. So is Nate Oates trying to underscore these, like trying to switch up the game plan? Are we going to play like the four corners offense?
Do you think Nate Oates plays Jedi mind tricks?
I think Danny Hurley does.
Because Danny Hurley is still hand washing his wife, Andrew. I think Ben met today at the
I did not get a chance to meet her.
Sorry. She probably would have been better investor for our platform than any of the Field of 68 broke boys. But at this point,
we always talk about how Providence fans are jerk offs. Is that what she said?
I don't know that she said that, but it was a family friendly show, the Need for Seeds College Basketball Podcast. But it's Final Four. Big East Bend, he's 9-0 last 9, so he can say whatever he wants.
Providence fans are jerk offs.
There we go.
Shout out Andrew Hurley.
And there's a Providence fan that's here with us. Yeah, Andrew Hurley, if you're listening, I know you're one of our longtime subscribers on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify. Please come in. We'll have you on whenever you'd like. Didn't know that she actually did media appearances like that, but glad she did. Back to this game. So Alabama has said they're not going to try to run and try to beat Connecticut in that way. So they're going to try to play a half-court game and shoot threes. Is that the plan?
I don't know what their plan is. I don't think their plan is going to be successful. UConn is just too good at guarding out on the perimeter. I don't trust Alabama's ability to make threes in a football stadium. I know stats say that there's no real deviation, and it don't. But I just don't think Alabama can live up to this moment and execute their offense to a high degree level to beat UConn. UConn has proven it now, Griffin, for 10 straight games in this tournament. 10 straight covers. And now they're pissed off.
Why are they pissed off? They're the number 1 seed, number 1 overall seed. What could possibly make them mad?
Well, despite being the number 1 overall seed, they weren't given a very easy road.
Oh yeah,
to the tournament.
Who have they ended up playing? Northwestern -2 starters.
Boo booey.
Okay, San Diego State, who
defending runner-up,
hadn't won a road game in
defending runner-up,
who they beat by 30 last NCAA tournament that made the final basically unwatchable. And oh my God, it happened again. Then they got Illinois, who they went on a 30-0 run. Maybe that was their anger coming out.
Someone in this room took Illinois +8.5, actually.
Yeah, first half I took them +5, and they were covering or +4.5, and they were covering literally till the last few seconds, and unfortunately lost by a half. Thank you for reminding me.
Anyway, if I thought, the spread's too short. It should be a 14-point spread. It really should. Alabama's not a good team. They're not a consistent team. UConn has proven at this time of year they don't crack. They don't quit. UConn has taken over college basketball. They're bigger than the Big East. I like UConn minus 11.5.
Minus 11.5. Lock it in if you're following at Big East Ben his picks. I will also play UConn minus 11.5. I don't like it. I think I'm most concerned about Alabama. I think they're lying. They're going to try to run and gun with UConn and try. That's, I think, the easiest way for them to score. I think UConn's defense, I think, is very underrated at this point in the season. I don't think that's talked about first when you talk about them. And I think Alabama's going to shoot a lot of threes. And I don't even know that they're that good at 3-point shooting. Mark Sears is great, but
Strata's good.
I mean, they're both good guards, both transfers from Ohio and Hofstra, I believe, and are talented, but they're also going to be shooting over some of the bigger, I mean, I guess depending on who's Cam Spencer's guarding, but I think he's 6'3" or 6'4". Mark Sear is certainly not that tall. Estrada, maybe 6'3", 6'4".
Is like a lockdown. You could put him on Sears.
So I think you cut off the head of the snake, Bill Self style, Castle on Sears. And then, I mean, it's going to be hard because I also feel like the Alabama interior, I mean, if they can get one of their power forwards or centers and Stevenson to come off the bench and airball 2 of his first 4 3-point shots, but make 6 of them. That's what basically beat Clemson to get to this stage in the tournament. I just don't see that happening. I think it's gonna be really hard to shoot in a football stadium, which we will be somewhere seated, somewhere around that stadium, watching a lot of, I think, long misses that seem pretty ugly. As for the total, 161.
I like the over. Oates is playing mind games.
Okay, so you're saying Alabama's running like crazy?
It's running. It's going to be like 90-70, 95, 75, 90. It's good. I wouldn't surprise if UConn cracks the 95 threshold.
Yeah, which if they get 95, then that only takes 65 or 66 for a push on the total. I'll go under 161. I think a team that relies on 3-point shooting in a big football stadium is not going to do very well. So I mean, I don't really trust what Nate Oates is saying. I'm not buying what he's selling, but I just don't think there's going to be a lot of points scored. I think a blowout also means less fouling at the end. And that's all UConn has been doing to teams. And I don't think Alabama is one of those teams that can stand in that way. If they make a bunch of threes, then probably the side will work and the total will certainly be in jeopardy for over there as well. But we're not there yet. So we'll see how that ends up going. I guess we'll be out tonight across, we're going to Scottsdale tonight. I think it's the plan. And then we'll be around Glendale tomorrow. For anyone watching this episode, if you are in town, please look us up. Hit us up on Twitter at Big East Ben, at @the_real_G Warner, at The Need for Seeds. Also, we'll work anywhere. We'll try to get as many promotional videos up as possible, especially celebrating at Big East Ben's 9-0 NCAA tournament. Incredible run. Would you like to get us started with your best bet selection to try to get to 10-0?
You got to go to old reliable to get the 10-0. Just throw the fastball.
Okay, hold on. Let's start this over. I'll do this live on our partner for reels and all that sort of stuff as well. So we'll start here. Keep in mind we have a minute, so you don't have to be that quick, but you can be relatively quick. This is the real_G Warner. This is the Need for Seeds College Basketball Podcast. This is our real version. I've at Big East Ben, the hottest of all handicappers right now in college basketball. He's 9-0 in this NCAA tournament, and this is his best bet for the Final Four.
Fastball on the black. Go to your fastball. Old reliable. Don't think. Just throw. UConn minus 11.5. Huskies go to the Final Four. Goliath matchup against Purdue.
Goliaths come together. So we got 2 picks there, 2 straight up picks at least. But at Big East Ben is going UConn 11.5-point favorites currently at BetOnline. If you're not a member at BetOnline at Sportsbetting.ag, check out the promo codes in the podcast descriptions on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube, of course. For my best bet, I will tail Big East Ben. We are 1-0 on double best bets in this NCAA tournament. Woo! And so we'll go UConn 11.5-point favorites, and they will roll those Tide. We'll see you all later and get just next episode for the championship. And that'll do it for this episode of the Need for Seeds College Basketball Podcast. Thank you for all the support this entire season. Not ready for that just yet, but we will come out with another episode, I think, from our homes on Sunday, probably.
Yeah, we'll do it in person. We're flying back late.
Okay, we'll record Sunday with picks for the national championship game. At Big East Ben will be trying to improve from 10-0 to 11-0 as we get. He has to take his shoes off to count how many victories in a row if we get to the national championship with a UConn lopsided victory. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you Sunday on the Need for Seeds College Basketball edition.